The solution is not to take Africans and move them to Europe. The solution is to free Africa from certain Europeans who exploit it and allow these people to live off what they have.
Welcome to AFRIPLUS News channel, where African voices shape African narratives. If this is your first time here, kindly hit that subscribe button and like this video. Your support empowers us to keep delivering authentic, independent journalism. Disclaimer: AFRIPLUS News channel is built on a foundation of professionalism, accuracy, and truth. We uphold the principles of fair reporting and strive to bring you verified and balanced news that uplifts the African spirit and truth. Today, we confront a truth that has long echoed in the hearts of Africans: the call for complete liberation from economic exploitation and neo-colonial control. A recent viral statement by Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has ignited global debate, and it's something African leaders, activists, and revolutionaries like Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso have been saying. In a bold speech, Giorgia Meloni condemned France's historical and ongoing exploitation of African countries, particularly through the use of the CFA franc, a currency still used by several West and Central African nations but controlled by the French treasury. Meloni accused France of enriching itself at the expense of African nations. She claimed that the CFA system, which requires African nations to deposit their reserves in France, is a sophisticated tool of neo-colonialism, undermining African economic sovereignty under the guise of stability. Her words sent shockwaves, not just because they came from a European leader, but because they align so clearly with what African revolutionaries have been fighting against.
The solution is not to take Africans and move them to Europe. The solution is to free Africa from certain Europeans who exploit it and allow these people to live off what they have. This is called the CFA franc, a colonial currency that France prints for 14 African nations and by virtue of which it exploits the resources of this nation. This is a child working in a gold mine in Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso is one of the poorest nations in the world. For Burkina Faso, which has gold, France prints colonial currency. In return, it demands that 50% of everything Burkina Faso exports ends up in the coffers of the French treasury. The gold that this child crawls into a tunnel to extract mostly ends up in the coffers of the French state.
This is exactly the kind of exploitation that Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the young military leader and current president of Burkina Faso, has been confronting. Since coming to power in 2022, Traoré has emerged as a symbol of Africa's new resistance. He has openly challenged foreign military presence, economic control, and called for a total break from systems imposed by former colonial powers. He, like many Pan-Africanists, views the CFA franc as a shackle, a remnant of colonial domination that still dictates African monetary policy. Under Traoré's leadership, Burkina Faso, along with Mali and Niger, has taken bold steps to cut ties with France's influence, including expelling French troops and shutting down foreign-controlled mining interests. Meloni's remarks now shine a global light on what has long been an African reality, that economic systems, political pressure, and military alliances have kept the continent from truly rising. Her statement may come from a position of European politics, but it validates what African youth, leaders, and intellectuals have long argued, that Africa must reclaim its full autonomy, financially, politically, and spiritually. Across the continent, from Burkina Faso to Mali, from Niger to the streets of Kinshasa, a new wave of consciousness is rising. It's no longer about asking for reform. It's about demanding total freedom. Let's look closer at the CFA franc. Established in 1945, it is used in 14 African countries. Though it brings some economic stability, critics say the system is outdated and exploitative. Why? Because 50% of these countries' reserves must be deposited in the French treasury. While France claims this guarantees convertibility and control over inflation, African economists argue that it deprives African nations of control over their own financial destiny. As Traoré and others have declared, true independence means controlling your own currency, central bank, and resources.
We no longer do things to please someone else. We do it for our homeland. And you are committed to that. Defend your homeland. Do not listen to those individuals. They should not affect your morale. In the history of the world, there have been wars. And during the Second World War, people organized themselves to defend all over the place. But there is a country that could not defend itself, which had to come and take our ancestors to go defend them. And today that same country wants to give us lessons. The pot calling the kettle black. No. You are the descendants of those same ancestors who went to defend others, who liberated the world from Nazism. Today you are fighting for your lands. These same individuals dare to create terms to tarnish you. We oppose this. We will never agree. Continue to defend your lands. It is your wealth that interests these people. It's our gold, it's our minerals that interest them. Otherwise, why come and drive out entire villages to seize our lands? So we will fight and we will reclaim our lands, our wealth. It belongs to us. It's for us. It will benefit us and our children. I therefore encourage you to remember that this war is to free us from slavery. It's for our independence. And you must keep your spirits high, stay strong. Never give into manipulators, to those individuals who no longer understand the notion of homeland, or to those people who come from outside to try to subdue us through their terms they invented and their organizations they created to enslave us. Fight, move forward, do everything you can. Draw, as I said, from your cultural resources, from what you have been shaped by since the village. Draw from it and wage this war. Stay focused and stay strong.
MELONI'S remarks have been met with mixed reactions across Africa.
They went from realizing about $1 billion in uranium resources to over 300 billion a year. We need to look at what's happening in Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. President Traoré is standing up. He is saying the natural resources in Burkina Faso, they belong to the people of Burkina Faso. Niger is doing the same thing. Mali is doing the same thing. Every leader must look at what's happening in the Sahel nations. If I may use the example of what happened in Niger when the government decided they were going to take over the mining of their uranium. The French companies that were mining the uranium were paying the government 80 cents a kilo for the uranium, and then turning around and selling the uranium to the rest of the world at 200 euros a kilo. So that one move from the Nigerian government to say we are now going to take ownership of our own uranium.
Some leaders remain cautious, unwilling to directly confront France. Others, especially those aligned with the emerging Sahel Alliance, see this as confirmation that the tide is turning. In Bamako, Ouagadougou, and Niamey, pro-sovereignty movements have swelled. Youth are marching, chanting slogans of unity, resistance, and reclamation. They are not just protesting against France, but against all forms of foreign domination that have kept Africa in chains. MELONI'S comments may also reflect a shifting geopolitical landscape. As Italy, China, Russia, and others vie for influence in Africa, France's long-standing grip is weakening. But Africa must be wary. The goal is not to swap one master for another, but to stand on our own. Captain Ibrahim Traoré has often emphasized this, urging Africans to develop their own economies, invest in agriculture, technology, and education, and build regional solidarity. At AFRIPLUS News Channel, we view this moment as historic. GIORGIA Meloni's statement is not revolutionary because she said it, it's revolutionary because it reflects what Africa has been shouting, bleeding, and dying for. We cannot allow foreign powers to control our currencies, dictate our policies, and siphon our resources. We cannot build the Africa we deserve if we remain chained to institutions built during colonization. From Kwame Nkrumah to Thomas Sankara, And now Ibrahim Traoré, Africa has always produced leaders who dare to dream of a continent free, united, and prosperous. The dream must now become action. As we move forward, African countries must unite in purpose. Regional blocs like ECOWAS, the African Union, and the Sahel Alliance must prioritize sovereignty, resource control, and youth empowerment. The youth, the majority of Africa's population, are rising. They are tired of dependency and hungry for dignity. Let Giorgia Meloni's words serve as a mirror, but let our own actions define the future. Africa is not a charity case. Africa is not a child to be guided. Africa is a giant, waking up, rising, and reclaiming its place in the world. Thank you for watching AFRIPLUS News channel. If you believe in African freedom, if you believe in telling our stories from our perspective, please subscribe, like this video, and share it widely. We will continue to bring you fearless journalism that empowers and informs. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, we want to hear from you. Until next time, stay strong, stay free, and be happy.